Hello there, Michael. Can you hear me?
I sure can, Karen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you too. Fantastic. And
That's
hello
gorgeous.
to all the attendees today. As you can see, Mick and I are beaming to you from two different locations today. So we thought we'd try this out. This is the first time we've done a webinar from different locations. So I'd love to know, first of all, if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay, if you can see both of us and hear both of us. In the chat box, if you can just grab your chat box, open that up and let us know if we're okay to go. Oh, great. So getting okay. Everyone else able to hear us? Hi, Robert. Hi, Nigel. Hi, Margot. People jumping on.
Have we had a fight? Yes, we have.
Okay, so Kat said that she can only, we can start now, Dean's here. We'd had a fight, Damien wants to know. Kat said she can only see one person at a time. I'm wondering if I can change the view on that then. Let me see what I can do with that. Let's see, view. Is that better, Kat? Can you just let me know whether that worked? No, we haven't had a fight, Damien, but I'm actually down at Phillip Island. I'm a little beach shack down here, so I'm living the life. I have the house to myself. I'm at the beach, and I have kittens. So all I need now is a unicorn in the backyard, and my life would be pretty fantastic. So
Notice how she didn't mention she needed me. I get that.
We work together, we live together. It's nice to have, a couple of nights just with kittens.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow when you come down.
Yeah.
You may remember, anybody that was on the call last time may remember that Nick and I inadvertently, even while we were staying in the same house, inadvertently ended up with wearing pretty much the same colour shirt on the webinar. So I've been worried all day, Mick, that you were going to turn up in a black poncho. I'm so glad you didn't.
Did you say black poncho?
I did say black poncho.
Wow, I've never worn a poncho in my life, but that's cute.
I was being funny. That's attempted humour. For accountants, you just don't get my humour. Right. Great to see so many people on the webinar today. A couple of people who are joining us for the first time. Welcome. This is an initiative Mick and I put together in response to COVID-19 because we wanted to help lead business owners through isolation. And so this is something that we really enjoy. I'm a bit faint, am I, Mick?
Yes. Speak up. Normally, I'm the one that's told to speak up.
All right. Well, if you can't hear me enough, I'll put my my headphones on. Anyway, so let's jump into today's topic. Mick, do you want to talk a little bit about that? And I'll get my headphones just in case.
Good stuff. Thanks, Karen. I'll jump into it. So over the past few weeks, we've tackled a number of different areas of these webinars. We spent quite a bit of time unravelling the government stimulus packages, particularly JobKeeper. We looked at the 6 key areas you need to focus on in a crisis. We also took a deep dive into cash flow and what you need to look at there. And then we specifically last week looked at cost savings. So we've covered a fair bit of ground in these Business Hub webinars. This week, we want to shift gears, probably into a 6-speed for you, Damien, and look at positioning your business for coming out of ISO. So assuming all goes well and ScoMo says we are back to business as usual in July, we want to shift gears and get us all humming along nicely. So from a business perspective, this is obviously great. More industries and businesses are getting back on track. It'll be easier to do business. And obviously a lot more consumer confidence will come online as more businesses open up. But as far as consumer confidence is concerned, we've already seen a fair bit of an upswing recently when ISO rules have slowly been relaxed, and there are certainly a lot happens in June. So we can expect it to be a lot greater confidence when businesses officially reopen, which will be awesome. What you're going to see, though, is a whole lot of people who've been effectively on pause, been deliberately not making any decisions because of the uncertainty around the coronavirus. basically stashing and saving their money. I certainly know we have. We've got more savings than we've ever had. So we're one of those, waiting to see what's going to happen. And so we'll be itching to get out there, get things done, and spend some money. And the one thing we
Australians
learned,
love to spend money. That's one of the things, me as an ex-financial planner, that's interested me, is being able to look at what's come out of this is that many Australians are living beyond their means, if you like. Well, spending more than they earn, certainly spending a lot. So you're right. I think Australians just love to be able to spend.
now this sounds pretty good in theory because everyone's going to spend up, but there's something you need to be mindful of. Your competitors are going to be out there too, desperate to make sure they get all the new business they can instead of you. So you're fighting for the same dollar. So if you want to make sure you're first in the queue, you need to find a way to stand out in this hungry crowd. So this is what we're going to focus on today: the importance of being able to articulate your unique service proposition, your USP. And this is something that Kaz works with clients on a very regular basis. So I might hand it over to Kaz because I took all the JobKeeper. It's about time you had some fun.
Yes, it's my turn, right? Look, Mick used the words unique service proposition, or USP. You may also have heard of it called a unique sales proposition, or even a unique core differentiator. So what is that really? It's simply a way for you to be able to articulate your difference to your potential clients or customers. I like to call it, I guess, like a positioning statement. So a positioning statement that explains how you're different and better than your competitors. And it lets, first of all, potential clients and customers know why they should work with you rather than other people. So, like if you're the only business of your type in the area that you service, then you don't really need a unique service proposition. Well, that is your unique service proposition. We're the only ones. But most of us have competitors, and if that's the case, we need something to be able to easily show our potential, our prospects, if you like, how we are different. It also helps for our existing clients to know why they should continue to use us. And one step from that as well, helps your clients and customers to be able to recommend you, to refer you, if they know what your positioning statement is too, or your USP, or whatever you want to call it. But here's the really important thing. You cannot make your clients or customers or prospects hunt for your USP. All right. You need to make it as easy as possible to be able to, for them to be able to find what is unique about you, what is different about
Yeah,
you.
that's a good point, Karen. They need to not be able to hunt. So what do you normally say, Karen? Go on. Need to.
Yeah. Okay. I usually say to my clients, when it comes to your USP, you actually need to poke them in the eye, right? So that's just my way of explaining that you can't hide your light under a bushel. You can't make people try and draw a line. You have to draw that line for them. So, if you're a business owner, and everybody on this call today, well, most people, not everybody, but most people are, then I don't need to tell you that there is a lot of competition out there. And it can be really hard to get your message across when there are so many other messages in your space. And it's going to be particularly difficult once we get back to business as usual, whatever that turns out to be, whatever the new normal is. But what I do know is that prior to going into COVID, your prospects, your clients, your customers are faced with over 7,000, on average, over 7,000 sales and marketing images every single day.
Bombarded.
And you're trying to compete against that, right? Or at least with that. So what's the answer? You've got to be unique. And you've probably heard this before, but it's absolutely, sales and marketing 101. But it is actually a bit more than that as well. You can't just be unique. You have to be able to articulate and promote your uniqueness as well. Because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you need to give your prospects a compelling reason to buy from you rather than from your competitors. Otherwise, what do we force people, if anybody wants to throw into the chat box, have a go at this, but if we don't, in the absence of any other difference, what are people going to shop on? I want to jump in the chat box and have a guess at what people are going to price. Absolutely. Yep, exactly. Right. So we kind of force people to shop on price if we don't give them something different, and people will buy the differences that they perceive. Okay, so that's why you need to promote it.
Critical point, isn't it? Differences they perceive.
Yep. So if you're not telling people about it, then they won't actually necessarily see those differences, or it may not be that different to your competitors, but if you're putting it out there and they're not, then it's going to be perceived different. And it's these differences that make your service or your product more attractive, or seem better in your potential clients and customers.
Yeah.
And it's what they're looking for as well. But here's the thing, right? I work with a lot of business owners all the time, and this is something that we do quite fundamentally. We look at what is it that makes you different. And so I'll often ask my client, I'll say, okay, so tell me, why should I work with you rather than your competitors? And I've had there's one person who's probably been able to answer it the best, and she did that this year, but still really wasn't compelling. And when I ask people that, it kind of goes a bit like this: oh, well, yeah, well, we've been in business for this long, and we have got a really good service, and we've got a really good product. It's not compelling, right? And it's sort of like instead of wham, this is why you should work with us. So there's usually a lot of stuff about great service and quality, maybe experience, but it's all very generic. So.
Yeah, service is a big one, isn't it, Karen? Because everyone says they do great service, when in reality, if everyone says they do awesome service, it's not very unique, is it?
No, it's not unique at all, right?
It's not unique. So it's everyone saying that. So it's hardly unique if we're all saying the same thing about service. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, by the way, I'm pretty shit at service. Come buy from me.
No, that is such a good point. I have never heard any business promote poor service. So therefore, yeah, it's not unique when we promote, oh, I've got such great service. But that's often what people hang their hat on. And when people say that to me, I say, oh, yeah, okay. But you know what? JB Hi-Fi, they don't promote themselves as saying, hey, you know what? We've got really low prices, but when you walk in the store, it's really hard to try and get some service, right? They don't say that. They would still tell you that they've got fantastic service. So we have to find something else. So even if it's not true, people will still say it, right? So, think about it for a minute. I was had a bit of a think before about an example, and I thought of cafes, right? And maybe this will make people a little bit, start to look forward to when cafes open again. I didn't realize how much cafes were an important part of my life. I didn't think I was part of the cafe society until they got taken away from me. And I realized how many times, Mick, you and I will go for a break up the mountain with a cup of tea and a coffee, or go out for some lunch or something. And now that it's been taken away, it's been really
And you don't even drink coffee. There you go.
That's right. But I do love my cup of tea. So let's say you're walking down the main street near where you work at, it's lunchtime, and you see two different cafes. And they look pretty much the same, just looking in the shop. So, they're both clean, they're both bright, they're both busy, and they're probably selling the same sort of food. So you go and you have a look at their window signage to see if you can try and find a difference between the two of them. Because to see straight away, we're looking for, I've got two options. How do I know which one to go with? The window on the left, so that's my left, that will have the signage, maybe has the name of the business and maybe even when it was established. People seem to be big on telling you when their business was established. I'm not saying that's wrong, but
again, it's another thing that people try and say is unique. It does show that you are good at what you do because you've been in business a long time. But there's nothing unique about being in business a long time. Put that cup down. So it just
All
says
right, so
that
yeah,
just says you're good at what you do. There's nothing unique that says, oh, I'm compelled to buy
yeah,
from, let's
yeah,
say, the Hendry Group because we've been around for 40 years, is there?
yeah, yeah. But say then the cafe on the right is quite different. The signage starts with, passionate about food. And then under that, it says, we're passionate about food, the pleasure it brings and the importance it plays in all our lives. We've developed a range of sandwiches, salads, cakes, puddings, whatever, that are really tasty, healthy, homemade, served quickly, and give you value for money. Everything is freshly made on the premises. We only use free range eggs and fresh herbs, and we bake our own pastries and bread. We insist on high quality that you can trust. Now, compare those two. And I think, if you were just looking at first impressions of, you haven't been in there, you haven't actually tried these two out, if you're just looking at that alone, you're going to choose the one on the right, even though it may have almost exactly the same food, right? And the reason for that is because it was easy to see the difference. So you could make that decision a lot more easily because you could see that the deli on the right or the cafe on the right offered something that was a little bit unique and therefore perceived to be better. All right, does that make sense? Does that,
It does, yeah. I mean, I've got a similar example, if you don't mind me jumping in. Remember Paddy the dentist? He was in the inner city suburbs of Melbourne.
I do. Mick, I use Paddy all the time in my when I'm talking. Actually, there'll be some clients on watching the video right now that'll be going, oh, we know about Paddy as well. So yeah, I'm excited you brought up Paddy.
Yeah, and I mean, dentists, we all know what they do, give us pain in the wallet and the mouth. And I guess working with a dentist many years ago, we heard about this. And I guess Paddy wanted to grow his business, attract more clients and put that cup down. And that's the core of it. There was nothing that he really did as a dentist that was unique to any other dentist. But most dentists do the same thing.
Do the same thing. They usually offer the same services. So yeah.
Fix teeth, make them look good, nice veneers, all that sort of stuff. So he knew that he had to do something unique. He didn't want to make the mistake of trying to compete on price with every other dentist. So what he did was he created a point of difference, didn't he? He surveyed his clients, and the number one thing they most disliked about going to the dentist, he learned that people disliked least was the experience in the waiting room.
The waiting room, yeah.
Just sitting there in the, what is it, the stoic or the, let's say, medical type waiting.
Yes, stark. When I remember hearing about this, straight away thought, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this was so many years ago that we heard this story, but I remember thinking, oh wow, you sit in that waiting room and you can hear the equipment, like you can hear the drill and the sucking, and you can smell those the
disinfectants and chemicals,
and that mouth rinse, and you start to get that nervous and anticipation, and it's not.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. You don't want to be confronted with that before you go in for your appointment. So what he did, he transferred the waiting room into a tea salon, didn't he? You're a tea lover, so you would have loved this.
I would have.
So when you walked through the door, you were greeted by somebody, taken over to your seat. It wasn't the typical waiting room seats, nice chairs, nice sofas.
Yeah.
Something you'd expect or not expect in a tea room. But then he'd hand you a menu as well of teas to choose from.
Well, he wouldn't. So whoever, took you over. And then Paddy was working.
And you get nice china in a nice china cup, nice teas you could choose, classical music playing. So the ambiance was very nice, very different for a dentist waiting room, wasn't it?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm very impressed you used the word ambiance then.
Thank you.
But yeah, he also, I remember, as well as I remember seeing the photographs of his beautiful chairs. It was like a high tea salon. Yep. And also I remember they had like nice smells diffusing through the sense.
Fragrances.
Fragrances. Oh, look at you go. You're all about the words today.
Yeah. Touching my feminine side.
Diffusing throughout the waiting area so that people couldn't smell the chemicals, and because of the music they couldn't hear the equipment, so they could almost forget they were at a dentist. And I also reckon by having it as tea, he was kind of getting some repeat business as well.
Well, yeah, I think,
That can stain your teeth.
The question is how much business do you reckon Paddy got as a result of doing, the waiting room as a tea salon? I think one, it was a point of difference, something you'd remember. And how much do you think he could have charged over any other dentist as a point of difference?
Well, I can tell you on that. So quickly, he went from wanting to grow his business to only working from referral. Like, so you couldn't actually get an appointment at Paddy's surgery without unless somebody referred you. And he could have charged anything because people were all talking about it. People would, I mean, who wouldn't? If your friend said to you, go to my dentist, you get in there, you get served a beautiful tea, it's really relaxing. There's going to be so many people that would be excited to
and now you think about it, someone started the TV's on the roof when you're lying on the chair, so everyone's got that. So that's not a point of difference anymore. Whereas back in the day when he did the tea salon, it was very much a point of difference.
Absolutely,
he grew his business bigger than he ever thought he could.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, are people noticing when I put up my mug, and the reason why Mick keeps grimacing is because it's him on it. It is me as well, but I'm deliberately not showing my face on it, my mug. Get it? But yeah, I just thought I'd try and throw Mick off by putting his face in front of him. Right. So I don't know if anybody saw my Facebook post about an hour before we started, but look, and I'm going to get you to see if you can guess this one. But last year, Mick and I were over in LA, and we happened to be speaking at an event that Steve Bradbury was also speaking at. And most of you will know that he was the speed skating gold medalist for Australia in the Olympics. And, it's actually the second time I've spoken with Steve, and, well, on the same stage as Steve, not necessarily just sat and had like a cup of tea. But look, he's a great speaker. I love the way he tells his story. Even though I've heard it quite a few times, I still get caught up in it. He's a really great speaker. And that's basically his business now. His business now is pretty much being a professional speaker. He's on the speaking circuit. But so are a lot of athletes. A lot of ex-professional athletes go to the speaking circuit, and they command a lot of money. Now, Steve Bradbury is doing that not only in Australia, but overseas as well. So to do that, to be really successful there, because it is actually a bit of a glut of athletes. I remember at one stage going to conferences and thinking, oh my gosh, if I have to hear another sports person talk at one of these, I'm not exactly the most sporty person. My sport is extreme reading. It is quite a flooded market. So what is Steve Bradbury's unique service proposition, do you think? Does anybody want to have a bit of a guess? I'll give you a moment to jump in the chat box and see whether or not you can think of what is Steve Bradbury's USP. What is it that he has that no other athlete has? See if you can jump in. I'll give you a second. Should I do some music? Ooh, oh, ooh, oh. See if anybody wants to guess Steve Bradbury's USP. See Mick's face a little bit more.
Oh, God.
Yes, he was the last man standing. That's exactly it, right? No other athlete is on the speaking circuit that has that particular story. He won his gold medal because he was the last man standing, right? So if I've got a hat or something with it on it, he has got everything branded with last man standing. Right? Because that is actually his unique sales proposition. Right?
That's what people remember him by, don't they?
Pardon?
It's essentially why he's remembered, isn't it?
That's right, and it's why he's unique. They know his story is going to be unique because he was the last man standing. Now, I have to tell you, after hearing many, like hundreds of sports people speak, that most of them have a very similar story. And it's pretty much a similar formula. They worked really hard when they were young, when they realized that they had this talent, their parents supported them or didn't support them, whatever. They worked really hard. They got to the Olympics. There was other things that, they usually had an injury that they sustained or some sort of adversity that they had to overcome. And now, and then they had their shining moment. But he is different. He stands out because he had that specific experience. And so he promotes the heck out of that to get his hits. All right. So I mentioned earlier that you can't just offer something unique. You have to actually articulate it. And I guess that sounds a little bit obvious, but most businesses do not articulate their point of difference. They kind of expect that people will just simply buy from them because they're in the marketplace, but they don't give the potential customer or client that compelling reason. It's kind of like saying, oh, buy from us, right? It's not enough. And so you're really winging it and you're hoping for business. And as you're probably sick of me saying, but I'm glad, because repetition is the mother of skill, hope is not a strategy. So what usually happens is a very common marketing mistake. What most businesses do is promote the features of their products or services and maybe the price, but without offering any point of differentiation. All right. So whatever your point of difference might be, the key is then working out how do you state it so that your potential clients or customers understand those differences in an instant, right? You don't want them to go hunting for it, as I said before.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Karen. I think something happens when we become so used about what we do, it just becomes second nature, doesn't it?
Automatic.
We forget about the prospective client and the customers and that aren't necessarily familiar with us, and we just keep promoting the features, not the benefits. And we need to have something to promote for ourselves over the competition.
Yeah, Mick, that's something that is called unconscious competence, right? When you there's 4 levels of competence. There's unconsciously incompetent, which means you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know that you're incompetent. Then there's consciously incompetent. You know that there's something that you're not good at. Then there's consciously competent. You're competent, but you still think about it. You still follow a process. And then there's unconsciously competent, which means it's like what you said, Ben. It's automatic nature that you actually forget that it's not second nature for the people that you're marketing to, for your target market. So I like that one.
Your unconscious competence means you just keep going into the features, not the benefits, and you're not promoting yourself over your competitors, are you?
Yeah.
So you've got to be aware of that, which is why it's important to have a statement, isn't it? It's about a 30-second statement about what's unique about you and your business. Some people call it an elevator pitch, but it's definitely something that's unique about your business that you can express concisely in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I call it a how statement as well sometimes.
Yeah,
like
something you use when you're talking to people.
Not what you do.
Yep. And this how statement you use in all your sales and marketing. And that's another way you can differentiate yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. So,
which begs the question, Karen.
Yes.
How do you develop a USP?
Yeah. Okay. I was just about to get to that. So thank you very much. It's not easy, and that's why most people don't do it. Like if it's easy, everyone would do it. If you look at all the massively successful companies, right, your billion-dollar companies even, they all have a unique sales proposition, right? So even if we're thinking about let's use Apple as an example, right? At the end of the day, and I've got my Apple phone here. I don't mean to offend people who are raving Apple addicts. What was that, Mick?
Samsung users, the 2 cams, Apple or Samsung,
yeah. Well, I'm more saying that I don't want to offend anybody who's a lives and breathes Apple here, but at the end of the day, Apple makes computers and phones, arguably not even the best. In fact, less than 10% of the world use Apple computers. So but those who do freaking line up for hours and hours and hours and hours for something that if they walked in the store 3 days later, they could get without a single wait. And that's because they have a unique sales proposition that appeals to people, right? So different to other companies that sell computers and cell phones. So Apple are all about challenging that status quo, right? They're all about thinking differently, being first. And that's what people line up for. And that's how they position themselves differently, because otherwise they're pretty similar. Same with Coca-Cola, right? So Coke's my favorite brand, not only because it is my biggest vice is Coca-Cola. I used to say to people my biggest vice was Coke until I realized what people might have been interpreting. But Coca-Cola is my vice, but it also has, given what I do for a living, it's a great story. As a brand, it's an amazing story. But here's the thing. Coca-Cola is a carbonated beverage, and it has a couple of competitors that have very similar. Now, I love my Coca-Cola, and I can tell the difference between Coke and Schweppes and Pepsi and whatever in an instant, right? But at the end of the day, they do still taste similar. They are all cola-based drinks. So what Coke don't market a cola-based drink, do they? They market a lifestyle. They market, living and feeling. That's their USP. The way that your lifestyle you'll have, and the way that you'll feel when you drink Coca-Cola, and the way you'll be able to run on the beach, and how beautiful you'll be when and how young you'll be.
I think you're sold. Look at you.
People in their advertising, but it's all about being active and happy, right? So that's their unique sales proposition. Very different to a carbonated drink. So how do you get to your own USP? So hopefully if you've got a pen with you, or you've got something you can write down some notes, I've got 5 questions that you need to ask about your own business. Right? I was going to say
intrigued. What are the 5 questions, Karen?
All right, I will. All right, so the 5 questions you want to ask yourself is, so number 1 is, why do people buy from me? All right, why do people buy from me? Not what do people buy, but why, all right? The second question you want to ask yourself is, what distinguishes my business from my competitors? So that's number 2. What distinguishes my business from my competitors?
Mm-hmm.
The third question is, am I more or less expensive? Okay. The fourth question is, do I provide more service, better value, a stronger guarantee, make offers? What do you provide that's better? Notice I didn't say better service, more service, right? So maybe there's more service that you do, maybe there's better value. As I said, it might be a really strong guarantee. It might be a special offers that you have, or a way that you're able to do it differently. And then finally, what is unique about what I do, and why do I do it that way? And the reason why you want to ask not just what is unique about what I do, why I say to go to that next step of why do I do it that way, because your why is probably going to be related to your unique sales proposition. It's probably going to be what connects to your prospects, right? Because the why that you do it, people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you sell it. Okay.
And they generally know, don't they? They generally know why you do it, and that's why you ask your customers, because
this is what I was going to say next, Mick. So don't steal my thunder just yet.
Okay.
I was going to say, with those 5 questions, if you've got a team, involve your team in it. I think that's a really good idea, because they will come up with some thoughts and ideas that you may not. Now, the other people to involve is your clients or your customers, right? Survey them. It's never been so easy to survey people now that we've got things, free tools like SurveyMonkey, right? So you could send them email them a survey, or you could maybe make a phone call, or get somebody to make some phone calls. And this is probably your best way to work out what your unique difference is, right? Because they are the ones that are going to tell you. They're the ones that are going to use you. So if you're going to go down that path, and I really recommend that you do, some questions that you would want to ask them are specifically, why did you choose us? All right. So what was it that made you choose us? Because they've already chosen you. So what was it that was unique about you that made them choose you?
And that's a very telling question, I think. I found that what you think the reason someone chooses you is quite often different, very different from why a customer or a potential customer is going to choose you, because of what we give off, or our language, or the way we're perceived. So I think that's such a powerful question.
Yep. I think, you just can't assume, right? Then you want to ask them, what difference did they notice between your business and other providers of your product or service? I like to ask them, what were the top maybe 3 things or 6 things, or, whatever, that were most important to you when you were selecting someone to provide whatever service or product you provide, right? What were the, 3 to 6 top things? Because I'll be able to tell you. One will be price, but then others, there'll be other things that are just important, probably more important. And then what you can do is, if you do that as well, then you can combine what you think, what your team have come up with, and what your clients have said
Definitely.
Combine that, and then review it, and then come up with your unique sales proposition. But do remember, the emphasis there is on the word unique, right? It can't be something that your competitors are already saying. All right. So I don't know, I'm just trying to think of an example off the top of my head. But if your example is we sell red leather shoes, and your competitors are also saying we sell red leather shoes, then it's not a unique point of difference, right? That said, it can be something that your customers are already doing, but not saying. All right. So let me just get that one really clear. Your USP can't be something that other people are already saying about the same type of business. Right. But you might be doing something similar. So maybe it is that you sell red leather shoes. This other place does as well, but they don't promote it. Right. So
is this something where maybe you could use the Hendry Group as an example, where we have a book and we have 8 steps to financial freedom, where we have 8 ways to ensure that you'll achieve your financial goals, which is very different from any other, let's say, financial services business?
Yep, that's exactly right. It's unique, right?
So we don't say we do tax returns.
Yeah,
or
financial statements, right? Oh, that sounds awesome.
It's so, use your language, so sexy. So you've got to have a point of difference, no matter how generic your product or service is, because people, as you said, people buy what you do. Sorry, people buy
why you do it,
not what you do.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. Look, when I work with clients to put together a USP, we usually have a session that goes for, say, 2 to 3 hours, right? But it's so much fun. It's really awesome. And it's probably one of my favorite sessions, because at the end, you always see the business owner go, love it, right? They've got this 30-second thing that they can use in everything. But obviously don't have 2 to 3 hours to do that today. So what I have done, though, is I've got some templates. Now, I usually only give these templates away to my private coaching clients.
Right.
Sure, given the hard times that we're in at the moment, my clients would be more than happy for me to share these with other business owners as well.
Yeah, like you said, we created the hub to ensure that we can help business owners get through COVID, and this is part of our commitment, isn't it? Giving them some free resources if we can.
Yep. So in the hub member site, there will be in there saved ways to be able to do your unique sales proposition, your house statement, as I said, that I often call it. And what I've given is some examples that you can literally fill in the blanks. That's how easy it will be for you. So please take advantage of those. As I say, usually only available to my private coaching clients, but I'm going to be giving those away to any business owners, and I'm happy if you want to pass them on to other business owners that as well. Really want to work to, be on a bit of a mission to probably extend our reach as far as possible for how we can help business owners.
And like you said, that template gives you a powerful start, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can sit there and work
really
through
powerful start.
Yeah, and then you can start to articulate some of your marketing around it. But I think, you know, I'm a big firm believer in asking your clients as well, because I think you just get some off the charts answers you probably weren't expecting as to why they buy and what makes you unique.
And then you can use the templates to put it all together. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, what do you do with it all, Karen? Once you've created your USP, what do you do with it?
You just use it in everything, right? So it should be the focus of your marketing, right? It's got to be the focus of your marketing. It should be the, you know, part of your advertising.
The bedstone or the corner rock?
Cornerstone, bedrock, cornerstone. You're so cute. I love how you mix your metaphors.
Yeah, that's thanks.
But yeah, your advertising, your signage, your business cards. I call it like a springboard. It's a springboard of all your marketing. You might want to use it as part of or in conjunction with your logo. I mean, that's what Steve Bradbury does with his Last Man Standing. He uses it as a tagline, even, right? He's got a pitch around that, but he's pulled out those particular words from it. And just use it as part of your language when you're talking to people, seriously, in the elevator, as they say, but, you know, at a barbecue or when you're talking to people, when they ask you what you do, you can use that USP, and it's going to be a lot more powerful than just saying, oh, I'm a this, or I'm a that, or I do this, or I do.
The easy one for us is, you know, I prepare tax returns, or
that's right.
we do financial statements. You know, they're probably going to walk off at you.
That's what I was going to say. I just need a drink.
But we say, you know, we have an 8-step process to help our clients achieve financial freedom. So it's much more powerful and might at least get their attention if they're interested in going down that path, as opposed to just getting a basic tax return done. So
that's right. And look, again, you talked about the experience one before. You know, we've been established. We use our experience. I will use my experience as a USP, but only in as much as it impacts the target market.
It's a backup, isn't it? It's a backup.
More than I would say, you know, in my 25 years experience, and it's actually more than 25 years now, I'm not updating it, let's go with that. In my 20 years experience, I've not only seen, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but, you know, I've been able to build a roadmap for people to be able to achieve personal and professional success because of that. So, you know, it's really around what that means.
Build a roadmap, Karen. I like that. That's part of the importance of what you said, the language that you use.
Yeah, blueprint. Yep, exactly. So, look, in essence, your unique service proposition is what really sets you apart from your competition. It's your specialness, if you like. But what's special about your product or your service or about your business as a whole? Whatever it is that compels people to buy from you. So what I want you to be able to have is in one statement, now it might be a couple of sentences, but in one statement, you need to be able to tell potential customers or clients exactly why they should buy from you. And it reminds your existing clients why they continue to buy from your business, so that, you know, you can make sure that they stay loyal and they don't go off somewhere else that they think's better, because you're letting them know why you are better. Remember, your clients, your customers, your prospects, they can't hunt for it. You need to be able to show them, make it really easy for them to see what's unique. So look, I hope this has got your creative juices flowing a little bit, and that after this webinar, you will take some time to work out what the key kind of differentiation is between you and your competitors, so that you can help your clients and customers and prospects identify why they really do need to choose you over your competitors, especially as we come out of isolation, where competition is going to be rife. There are going to be a lot of your competitors desperate to get a part of your pie.
And I think that's critical, isn't it? We said it from the start. You've got to use some of this potential downtime, if you're not as busy as you were pre-COVID, to work on your business, not in it. And a USP, as you can work out with billion-dollar brands like Apple and Coke we've mentioned today, it's just massive what it can do to differentiate you and your business and make you stand out. This is really working on your business, isn't it?
Yeah, and I want to say there too, it doesn't matter if you are getting more time because of ISO or not. It's something you need to do for your business. You need to find the time to do it. So
good point.
So please grab those templates and use the templates. And hopefully you'll come up with a really strong USP. So great. And remember,
love to hear from you.
if you've got any questions or if you've got any thoughts or anything you think about after this, please don't hesitate to get hold of us on the Facebook page. Otherwise, I think we're spot on time. Look at us go.
45 minutes. Look at that.
Even from different parts.
Maybe we should be separated more.
All right. Well, lovely. Great to see everybody as always. Hope that was really valuable for you. Don't hesitate to reach out if we can be of further service, especially if there's something that we can do to help you around this part of moving your business.
Beautiful.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you next week. Oh, lovely. Thanks, Damien and Alison. You know what? I haven't actually been with the beaches at the end of the street. I haven't even made it down for a walk yet, so I should definitely make time to do that. I love the ocean. So.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you later, everybody. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.
Cheers.